Are you looking for a new church?
Here are 6 things you can look for in a new church to aid your search.
Number 1, proximity. This might not be something you've thought about too much before, but when you're looking for a new church, new services to attend, it is ideal to find a church that meets close to where you live. This will allow for true service to take place on your part as you seek to serve in that body, and true fellowship, to have people over to your place to visit other people's houses, whatever it might be. Proximity is actually really important. Now, it might end up being that you attend church services far away from your house because there just aren't very many biblical options close to you, and that's okay in that situation. But don't skip those that are closer to your house in order to go to one farther away just because you think it has what you need. A lot of times, at least in my case, we'll have people visit. They'll find out that we don't have the big band they want, the huge youth group they want, and this, that, and the other thing, and they just do away with us and they move on to the next place, and they end up going to a church that's far away from them because it has all these different things that they think they need. Instead, we should approach a church closer to our home with the mindset of, how can I serve here and how can I be of use in this place? Instead of just looking for, how can they give me the resources I think I need? So that's a very important mindset to have as you go in to visiting a church that's close to your home. And also, we want to encourage you to visit one of those churches multiple times. As you find one that's close to your home, give them more than one shot, because the Sunday that you visit, they may just be having a really off Sunday for whatever reason, and perhaps you didn't really get to see them as they truly are. So visit 2, maybe even 3 times before you go on to the next service to see what that church has going on. So give them a chance and look for the ones closer to your home.
Number 2, biblical doctrine. When you are approaching a new church, you want to know that they affirm biblical doctrine, especially in the things of the faith that are considered primary. And we have a resource on our website that can help you in discerning what is primary from what is secondary. Check out our website, dotheology.com/chart. And there's a chart there that can help you guide your thinking through that. But you want a church that's going to be unapologetic in standing for that which is primary in the faith, that which the Bible clearly teaches. Ideally, this is a church that is not going to be ashamed of their doctrinal statement. It's going to be very accessible and easy to find on their website. And when it comes to areas of secondary doctrine, you want to have a church that you can live with, where there might be some differences in those areas, but they're differences that you can live with, right? That your conscience is not, you're not stumbling over these issues in your life.
Number 3, expository preaching. This goes hand in hand with a biblical church, a church with a solid doctrinal statement that reflects what Scripture teaches. Those churches, by and large, are going to have good expository preaching. But what that means is that the pastors, the teachers in that church, whenever they are just generally teaching from the Bible, they are going verse by verse, chapter by chapter, through whole books at a time. Now, that doesn't mean that they won't sometimes do topical sermons or topical series to have, a message or a lesson where you're flipping all over the Bible. But generally speaking, they will be going verse by verse as they teach through a book of the Bible. Expository preaching is absolutely key to a healthy church.
Number 4, orthopraxy reflects orthodoxy. Now, those words, orthopraxy and orthodoxy, or orthodoxy refers to biblically sound doctrine. That's what we talked about in point number 2. Orthopraxy is how that doctrine is lived out in the life of the church. So some of the things that you might look for when trying to discern this is the songs that are sung on a Sunday morning. Do they reflect the doctrine of God accurately? Do they teach accurately? Do the songs that we sing accurately teach what the Bible teaches and accurately reflects what is espoused in the doctrinal statement? There might be some other areas of the church life that you want to pay attention to. See if the church is pursuing a pragmatic approach to ministry versus seeking to be faithful to the biblical approach to ministry. Now, we recognize that distinction can be somewhat subjective in a few areas, so we encourage you to pursue wisdom in the midst of that, but it is something to pay attention to as you evaluate the life of a church.
Number 5, healthy polity. Polity is a word that you probably haven't used for a long time, if you've ever used it, but it basically has reference to the government of the church. Different churches will have different government structures. And so going back to an earlier point, you want to make sure that whatever government structure they have, if you don't agree with it entirely, it's at least something that you can live with. But generally speaking, you want the government of the church to be healthy in that the leaders are godly and that they are visionaries. Not that, they're doing some big grandiose plan, don't hold them to some extra biblical standard, but you also want them to be in the ways that they are called to in Scripture, helping move everybody forward in their spiritual life and just in the life of the church as a whole as they seek to reach the community. You want the leadership to be godly and visionary, and you want them to hold the members of the church accountable, that there's an accountability factor for the rest of those in the church body. You want to be held accountable as a church member, and if you don't, we should probably make another video for that. But you want there to be true biblical accountability from the leadership to the membership and from the membership to the leadership. Healthy polity, healthy government also includes being held accountable by the membership. So you want that two-way relationship to be happening. That creates not just a quote-unquote healthy polity, but a biblical polity.
And number 6, vibrant body life. You want to evaluate how the body interacts with one another, the individual members of the church, how they interact with one another. Are they practicing biblical core values? Are they praying for one another? Is there evangelism and outreach taking place? Are they fellowshipping with one another? Do the people actually genuinely love each other? I mean, you want to pay attention to how the body is interacting with one another to see if there is a healthy body life there within the church.
And again, we are not saying these are the 6 things that they have to be doing perfectly before you settle for that church. That's not the case. You're never going to find the perfect church, but you want to see at least these 6 things being attempted, that the church has a heart for these things, and to see how you could fit in helping the rest of the believers there grow in these areas. So that's our list of 6 things. And actually, you know what? I think we should add a 7th. The church has to be located in Utah. So we need more believers out here. Come to Utah. Not really. We're sticking to that proximity thing. So wherever you live, find a church that's truly local to you.
We hope that this list helps you do theology when it comes to finding a good local church.